Hello, this is Dr. Gay from First Lake MRI, and this is a runner born in 1996, and they have anterior tibial pain, and this is a marker here over the area that's hurting. This is a sagittal T2 weighted sequence, and you really can't say anything about the marrow on the T2 weighted sequence. It's not fat suppressed. But here's the tibia, and we can see it's right over this anterior tibial tendon. Here's the anterior tibial tendon. It's right over that. The tendon looks normal, but the muscle, if we window this properly, is a little bit bright, so a little bit of edema within the muscle. This may be some myositis or muscle strain from overuse, but the tendon itself looks good. When we put up an axial stir image, we can see this edema all over the medial and anterior portions of the tibia here. Also, it surrounds the anterior tibial tendon, and this is the muscle here. The muscle has some edema within the muscles we had seen on the other one, so it looks like there's confluent edema over the periosteum and around this muscle. And the marrow looks normal. The cortex is nice and dark and black. Marrow is nice and dark and uniform, so there's no marrow edema, no cortical thickening. And on this coronal stir sequence, we see the process is pretty extensive. It goes about 10 centimeters in length, and again, it's over the medial and anterior portions of the tibia. And again, there are no marrow changes. And so this is what we call tibial stress syndrome. It's a spectrum of injury along the anterior tibia. It can involve just the soft tissues at the low end of the spectrum, and then it can progress on to cause edema within the muscle. The marrow rather. It can also cause edema within the cortex, and at the very latest stages, it can cause fractures. You see a horizontal fracture line. And another way to say the tibial stress syndrome is just shin splints. So on the low end of the spectrum, if you just see edema in the soft tissues over the periosteum, you call it shin splints. And when it progresses to more advanced stages where you have marrow edema, you say there is evidence of a medial tibial stress syndrome with marrow edema or stress reaction within the tibia. And I'll usually qualify there is no stress fracture line. That's more of an intermediate thing with the soft tissue edema and marrow signal changes. And at the most severe end of the spectrum, we get horizontal fracture lines that are dark, black, and lots of surrounding marrow edema. A lot of times you'll see edema within the cortex as well. And when you see a linear macroscopic transverse fracture line, then we'll say there's a tibial stress fracture. So just to recap, on the low end of the spectrum for tibial stress syndrome, we just call it shin splints or mild tibial stress syndrome with periostitis. And then if there's marrow edema, you just say there's stress reaction with marrow edema, but no evidence of a stress fracture. And then again, the severe end of the spectrum, say there's a horizontal transverse stress fracture of the tibia with prominent marrow edema. And that's it. So again, these are all parts of tibial stress syndrome.